But the problem with the viewpoint that's so prevalent in our society right now is that, and that's the patriarchal tyranny viewpoint, is that it's only the evil king. And then that's particularly hard on young men, because if you believe that all of our hierarchies are predicated on nothing but arbitrary power, and that that's a natural consequence of masculinity, then whenever you see anyone who's masculine manifest anything that's associated with competence or confidence or let's say competitiveness or heaven forbid, aggression, then you immediately assume that that's nothing but a manifestation of tyrannical power, and that you discourage it or you certainly fail to encourage it. And I think that that's a dreadful mistake, because that masculine energy, whether that's characteristic of women or men, because women can certainly manifest that, that's something that should be integrated and celebrated. And the way you do that, that's partly why mechanisms like competitive sports are so necessary, is that you want to take kids, let's say boys, the more competitive and aggressive boys, just for this example, you want to take them and you want to socialize them intensely so that they take that aggressive competitive impulse and they're capable of manifesting it inside a social structure like a game, so that it's of benefit to everyone. And you can do that. It's not a problem. You teach an aggressive kid that it's beneath his dignity to bully someone weaker. So you can attach that right to the competitiveness. It's like, you're a loser. You bully someone weaker than you, you're a loser. That's pathetic.
Yes.
It's like it speaks right to that competitive drive. It says, I don't want to be a loser.
Tenets of martial arts are so critical. I mean, that's one of the major tenets of martial arts. This is a huge part of what's taught in traditional martial arts academies. Is there's a very clear way of behaving, and you're never supposed to do anything remotely like bullying.
Right.
And you're supposed to have
because it's a misuse of your power.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to have extreme reverence for the people who taught you. Mm-hmm. I mean, your master. You literally call them a master.
Right.
In almost all martial arts, they're referred to.
Right, and so that's another. Well, so that's another thing that's really interesting about a functional hierarchy. Is like, because the leftist critics look at a hierarchy and they think every position is up looking down, right? But what you're saying, what you're pointing out, is no. In a functional hierarchy, there's plenty of respect going up, right?
Yes.
So it's not just power. It's like it's power. It's authority and subordination at the same time, voluntary subordination, because you should be properly subordinate to the people who are better at what you're doing.
Yes.
And in a functional organization, that happens naturally. And the other thing that happens too, and the radical leftists never take this into account as far as I'm concerned, is that one of the things I've learned about people who've run successful organizations, whether they're academic or business, is that they really love mentoring young people. It's an intrinsic pleasure, because you think, well, for the evil capitalist, it's winner take all and to hell with everyone else, and that's an unbelievably cynical view of human nature. It only really applies to people who are genuinely psychopathic, and they're very rare. And so most of the people I know that have been hyper successful are absolutely thrilled if they can find a young person, and they don't care, generally speaking, about sex or creed or color or any of that crap. They care about competence. They want to find a competent young person who's got a lot of possibility, and then open up all sorts of doors of opportunity for them, and to see how they can help them develop. And if they can do that with 20 or 30 people, then, like my graduate supervisor had his he's getting old, and he had his retirement party about 2 years ago, and about 30 of the people that he trained into becoming scientists came to his party, and they talked nonstop about the beneficial effect that he had on their life. He found a lot of them were, they were young and smart, but weren't really all that properly oriented in the world, and he picked them out and gave them opportunities, and he certainly did this for me, has opened all sorts of doors for me, and that was a huge source of pleasure in his life. I think maybe the primary source. He had a family as well, and obviously his family was of primary importance, but in his professional career, it wasn't his name on papers and his name in the marquee. It was all these young people whose careers he could foster. It was a never-ending source of satisfaction.
Yeah, I think that's a critical aspect of being a successful person, that you have to realize that there's a great personal benefit in helping other people, and that you feel this. This is not just like something that looks good on paper. When you can show some young person who's coming up the way, you're 10 years ahead of them, and you can say, these are the mistakes that I made.
Yeah.
And I can help you get through this. And then you see them flourish. There's a great deal of personal satisfaction.
Oh, definitely.
And there's got to be some sort of an evolutionary benefit to this kind of behavior.
That's part of, that's the thing is, we are evolved for reciprocity.
Yes.
We really are. We're not evolved for power.
Right.
This is what's so deeply wrong about the damn postmodernists and the Marxists, is that isn't what first of all, power is not the best strategy to attain success. It's simply not. It doesn't even work for chimpanzees, because the brute chimps, the ones that rule purely as a consequence of force, as soon as they weaken two subordinates that are reciprocally engaged, so that have a friendship, tear them into pieces. So I don't care how strong you are. 3 guys that are like 2/3 your strength are going to take you out. So you're much better situated in society and in your life if you're in an interactive network of reciprocally beneficial relationships. That works in games, but it also works in life. And to reduce that, and if you're competent, so there's the killer combination: hyper competence and the capacity for genuine reciprocity. That makes you unstoppable.